Today, I get to revisit a project that went on hold thanks to an absolute tragedy, which almost made me quit working with this species, which is my Anolis Ferreus project. Now, to anyone who needs a refresher on them or has never heard of them, which I don't blame you, I mean, they don't get talked about enough. They're a relatively niche anole. Let me give you that refresher. Ooh. Anolis Ferreus does technically have a common name, but I've never used it in, like a common talking sense. Or have I ever heard someone refer to them like this? Which is the Marie-Galante Anole. My apologies. It's on the screen for anyone who actually knows how to pronounce it. But they were discovered all the way back in 1969. Then they weren't even known as, Anolis Ferreus. They were known as something completely different. And then over time, they were considered Anolis marmatus. And now, as of today in 2025, they are Anolis, Ferreus. That could be a whole video on its own describing, the genus, this, that. It'd be a fun one, so let me know down below. But, I hope you got back from the comments section, and we can talk about this one really little tidbit of information, which is that they're only native to one small island, right? Which is off the coast of Guadalupe, in the archipelago area, in the Caribbean, guys. And it's called Marie-Galante. It's on the screen. Again, I'm not well versed in languages outside of English. There's a lot of benefits that come from, living on a small island. You have a big lack of predators 9 times out of 10, and that kind of lets you let's just say joyride in the evolution department. But living on a small island does have one relatively large disadvantage, especially in the era of mankind, which is when people come to your island to bring pretty good and efficient predators that can hurt, harm, and eat you. As an anole, if you are an anole, I don't know. But, that's going to severely shorten your population number, but it doesn't put it at enough to say you're endangered yet. Now, many anoles cannot survive in the city environment, but some can. It's very much a 50-50 chance if it can, and it happens, evolution happens, they adapt different toe pads. It's a really neat thing. If you want to learn more about it, watch this video I did a long time ago. But basically, a little synopsis of that one bit, they have a good number in the wild, but, over time, with more people living on the island building stuff, they're going to eventually have very small numbers, and that is a concerning thing we should always keep in mind when it comes to island living animals, especially small lizards. Now, after that tidbit, you now know more than most people even know about anoles, or more or less Anolis Ferreus. Now, I hope this has spiked enough your interest to finish this video. In this video over here, I showed off the project, being my Ferreus project, being the 1 female, 2 female, and my beautiful baby boy male. Now, that beautiful baby boy male sadly is no longer with us. He died some time ago. I was devastated, and I kept his son, Well, at the time I didn't know it was his son. Surprise. But pretty much, I kept his first baby I found in the enclosure. And over time, I was really hoping it was a male, and to my surprise, it is a male. But that's not what we're here for today. Breeding in, say, a couple more months, preferably to a non-mother. So, Cameron, how do you plan to revisit this project? Well, let's just say a new friend of mine being, Shane Betroski. It's on the screen if you haven't realized yet, brother. I am horrible with names or any word that is not basic English. But, my male breeder, little baby guy, well, he is not going to be breeding anytime soon, a couple months shy. So he's how we're going to be, redoing this project. He's going to basically be sending me his male, and they're going to go with my females. We're going to have some beautiful kiddos, and once they have enough eggs and hatch out, I'm going to send him some, and we'll go there with the male from that point on. And knock on wood, everything goes to plan, which it should. Now, did you hear that knock? Sounds like the door. I bet it's that FedEx driver who doesn't know how to, obey speeding laws. Let's just hope no one arrested him, because I have some amazing anoles to get. Ooh! So, chat, peoples, the viewer, whatever we're calling you, I don't know if we're on Twitch. Maybe, who knows? It's a Wednesday. This is the unboxing part of the video. Probably what everyone clicked on, because if it's animals getting unboxed, you gotta put the white box on the screen to let them know. But, you're probably wondering, Cameron, why is there a bunch of red duct tape on it? That's simply because, I don't feel like having to edit out someone's address again. So it's called preparation. Now, as I may have mentioned earlier in this video, this is who we got them from. Because as you know, I cannot pronounce my brother's last name up here. Cool guy. Buy some cool anoles from him or other stuff. But this is a really nice, fairly tight shipment box, It's like Fort Knox, as they say. Out well.
But they did something really cool, which is actually shipping the animal in a snake bag. Now, a lot of people will actually say snake bags are mid, they're bad, they're horrible. But in my opinion, when it comes to adult anoles, it is elite because once it's tied, you can actually basically tie it up around your hand. And what happens there is you can get your hand in there and you can grab the anole, get ready to bring it out. And he can't get out because if you did it properly, you know, your hand should be in there. But if you do it improperly, then you're having problems. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you remember what I said earlier, remember, get your hand in there, and then you're golden. So we're going to do that, press it against my body. Now, once my hand's in there, I'm trying to get wrist around, you know, notice how I'm now tightening this around my hand. So now, the only thing me and this fella have to do is just touch. Pause. He can't get out. He's in my hand. And get a good grip so he doesn't freak out, lose his tail or anything. And voila, look at that. That is what we call a adult male Anolis Ferreus. In shed too. Look at that beautiful dewlap. He is a lot less colored down. He did lose his tail not long, but the important part of the tail is definitely still there. Now, I have seen some pictures on him where his head is more blue with the brown body. So what I'm expecting here is a more blue head, yellow body like what I have with my current females, right? But he's going to be a very gorgeous animal, going to be a great breeder. People, I have a blinding light in my eyeballs to get this quality. But guess what? It's the end of the video. You got to see Anole come out box. You got to see Anole do interesting things. I don't know what I'm doing here for the end of it, but you know, like, sub, share, and if you know what people's watching this lovely video, you know, definitely look at the Anolis Ferreus playlist on the screen, and then also take a gander over at the, you know, 5 plants that you may want to look at if you have reptiles, because, you know, if you have 5 reptiles, maybe you need 5 plants. Ooh. Anyways, I guess this is the end of the video.